Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, good. We can hear each other. Welcome, Faisal. I just want to make sure if everyone can hear, just say yes, no echo. Just let me know if you can hear me clearly. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Fouzia Usman, founder of Muslim Nation Builders, and I have Faisal Amjad from UK. Thank you, Faisal, for signing in. And he is founder of Know Your Purpose, and he's also co-founder of Muslim CEO. And our topic primarily here today, we are focusing on. It's a very interesting topic, and it's something I'm very passionate about. Uh, okay, I'm trying to get the. Give me 1 second. And this is something related to all of us: unleashing your fitrah, finding purpose in your work. Faisal is actually, he studied law and he became an attorney, and then eventually he found his fitrah and he founded his no platform. So I would like to actually have Faisal explain the journey. Like, you studied for law and you thought that was your fitrah and that was your passion. You actually became an attorney, and uh, what made you decide to actually switch to it? So
Okay, this one So first of all, Jazakallah khair for inviting me. So this is also a topic that I'm passionate about as well, and uh, the whole subject of fitrah and knowing yourself. With me, what's quite interesting is that I actually, as a youngster in my sort of teenage years, I kind of was quite close to my fitrah, believe it or not, because the thing that I was really passionate about when I was younger was reading and writing. Reading and writing, I used to love, and so for me, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a children's book author. That was, when they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? For me, it was children's book author. I want to be, because I was really big fan of Roald Dahl, the Roald Dahl books. So yeah, I copied my writing style like his. It was all like, so that was kind of what I wanted to do. And then as I got a little bit older, and I started making options for university, it was journalism. I thought, okay, journalism's a professional thing that's good, for people who want to write. So that's what I want to do. But what was quite interesting was the how sometimes circumstances around you can take you off course, right? So the truth of it is that I didn't really have a huge passion, even though I knew that I enjoyed writing, and so it wasn't that, oh yeah, I want to be a journalist. It wasn't that's my dream or anything, but it was, I knew I was really good at it and I had a strong sort of inkling towards it. But what happened was that 9/11, right? 9/11, this is around the time I was choosing my options, and 9/11 took place, and all of a sudden the media went really like full on against Muslims. I was doing media studies at the time at college, and I remember one of the projects I did was the Muslim, how they wrote about Muslims before 9/11 and after, right? So
mhm.
I could see the difference. And so for me, it kind of put a little bit of fear in me. I thought, oh no, if I have to write for a newspaper, or, they're going to make me write against Muslims, and I was really conflicted all of a sudden. I got really, really cold feet. So all of a sudden, that was the only thing I kind of knew that, that maybe that's the area I want to go into. And so when that's taken off the table, it's like, okay, what's left? Well, I didn't really know, right? So then you naturally you ask people around you, ask family, ask parents, and the parents were like, well, okay, well, why don't you do law? Law is a very respected degree, and with if your abilities in English and stuff, you'll do well in that. So obviously, as someone who didn't really know, I would, okay, fine, yeah, that's fine, I'll just do law. So that's the first thing. So what's quite interesting is that I kind of did start studying law by accident, right? It wasn't really planned, but circumstance took me in that direction. So I did the degree. Didn't really enjoy it. If I'm honest, I didn't really enjoy it, and but I kind of just cruised through. So again, when you don't really enjoy something, you're kind of cruising through. There's a telltale sign there, right? Obviously, when you're younger, you just think, oh, it's just youthful exuberance. It's just, oh, he's distracted. He's just enjoying like other things and stuff. He's not really studying hard. But really and truly, like if this was my Fitrah law was what I was all about and stuff, maybe there would be much more like attention and focus and desire there.
Mm-hmm.
So I graduated, and the first thing I did, like the conclusion I came to was, you know what, the only thing I learned from that law degree, I don't want to be a lawyer. That's actually what I said. Right? I don't want to be a lawyer, right? And so I actually then, but I said, I don't, but again, I was still confused. I said, okay, I don't really know what I want to do, but okay, what I'll do is I want to work for a big company. That's it. I find, but again, these are all, someone who's guessing. They're guessing their way. They're kind of fumbling their way through life and stuff. Um, and so, yes, I was like, I want to work for a big company. So I started applying to all these graduate schemes. Part of the reason for applying for these graduate schemes, by the way, is because what happens, how they work is they put you in their marketing team, and then they put you for 3 months, and then or for 6 months, and then they put you in their logistics team, and then basically the idea is that they kind of see where you're the best fit, and that appealed to me because I was like, okay, I don't really know what I want, so maybe let them decide for me. But what happened was that I got into the graduate pool at a big company called Boots. So Boots,
Mm-hmm.
they're in the US, they're owned by Walgreens. So that
Mm-hmm.
and they're based in Nottingham, so on my doorstep. So on the first day, they did a kind of one of these these tests, these tests and stuff, and they said, oh well, where you suit according to our tests, is you suit going into the buying team. So that was actually what happened then. So I didn't become like a lawyer straight away. I actually did a few years in buying. So I was
Mm-hmm.
negotiating with suppliers, and it was quite like a nice glamorous role. It was really interesting. And then I got headhunted to go into and this was in the sort of beauty category. So it was like toiletries, dealing with like
And
deodorant
this
and
has
shower gel.
nothing,
Yeah.
and it has got nothing to do with what you studied.
No, yeah, nothing to do with law. Nothing to do with law. It was more business and commercial and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's nothing to do with that. And then what happened is that so then I got another role, and that was again more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly smaller company. Uh, but then I hit a crossroads. Because I was like, okay, I've done like 5 years of work experience now. What do I do then?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go? And I was like, do I just carry on with this? And is this my career now? Am I just a buyer? And at that point, I started actually feeling a bit of regret. I was like, oh, you know what, like. Because a lot of my managers, everyone was saying to me, "Oh, Faisal, you need to sort of specialize in something. Like you're too interested in lots of different things." And I was like, and this was around the time the 2008 crash as well. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should go back to studies, and maybe I should do the full law school. I should go. Basically, I could go either do law school or I could do an MBA. These are the two options open to me. Because
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go back into studies. And again, but again, that's another sign of someone who doesn't really know what to do, and they just delaying things a little bit. That's kind of how it felt. But anyway, so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to go back into law school, and this time I'm going to really focus and really do it. But I've got to say that year that I went into law school, it was actually amazing. It was really really good, and I thought, oh wow, now finally I understand why. Because at that point I understood, like, okay, I'm starting to getting to know myself a little bit more, and justice was a big part of what I believed in. So I thought, okay, you know what, and now after that, so after law school, I was like, okay, right, and alhamdulillah, I did really really well, got one of the top marks and stuff. So I was like, okay, right, cool. I'm here. I'm now a lawyer. That's my
Mm-hmm.
career now. Career like, gonna be. So, but then again, how I told you earlier about circumstances changing things.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened at that point is, okay, so doing a few like legal roles. I actually got a role within a non-legal role within the NHS, which is like the National Health Service. And so that was another buying role. But it was a kind of temporary role where I was looking for the next legal kind of thing. But what happened was that a trip to South Africa. I just went on a holiday to South Africa for a few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and as part of that trip, it was basically that I always say that trip kind of changed the course of my life, Because
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't go to that trip back then, I probably would be a lawyer today, and
Oh, wow.
I really see that as a significant change in my direction.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? You might be wondering, all right, what
Yes.
happened on the trip? Um,
What did prompt you to like question whatever the journey you are on, and what made you to like change directions?
Yeah, so I think up to this point is that, because by this point I was like 27, 28, right? So I'm kind of in my late 20s now, and nothing really. There's no, like, how we talk about, me and you talk quite a lot about spark. Nothing had really sparked right at that point. It was just, you're going with the flow. Okay, you're professional, you're doing your job and this and that, but nothing really, spoke to the heart. Nothing really called at me, right, or pulled me or anything. And but what happened on this trip was, it was a group of Muslims who, it's like a retreat, and there was like 150 Muslims from different parts of the world, and they were all talking about Islam from a very intellectual perspective, and they were saying, "Oh, the way Islam has got the solutions to the monetary system, and the environmental problem that we have, and this problem and that problem," and they were talking about Islam in a really empowering way. And so obviously the Islam I had come across in my childhood years and stuff was just, rituals, and you practice it, but it's not like this powerful force. And I was learning all this new stuff, and it was discovery, and so it was that first spark of something like, oh my god, like this is really interesting, and really like kind of and it made me just yearn to discover more. So that was a really, really interesting kind of sign. And then not only that, all these people were talking about these big problems, but then they were talking about, they're all from different backgrounds, but they're all united in talking about it. And that was another thing. Wow, okay, the Muslims are actually united because all of them are suffering with these problems. So actually, this can bring people closer together, right? So these were
Mm-hmm.
this is another really, you interesting thing for me. But anyway, what happened was that I came back and I was like, okay, look, that was very fascinating. And I was like, I just want to share a little bit of that about that. Again, there's no serious life decisions made at that point. It was just, okay, look, I want to share a bit about what I learned with my local community. So I just put on a bit of a conference, and alhamdulillah, that was a really, really well attended conference. We sold out within 3-4 days, and all the talks were really, really interesting. And a load of people gave feedback afterwards. Oh my god, like, this, you need to, when's your next event? This is exactly what the Muslims need, because what the event was about was talk about real issues. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
Muslim scholars, all from different backgrounds. We didn't look at what sect they are, what background they're from. We were looking at, okay, what are the issues Muslims are dealing with? Okay, the healthcare system, the food that we're eating, the spirituality of it, the monetary system, and the slavery that we're in, and these kind of real serious topics. And people are,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, this is exactly what we've been looking for. And so it kind of, an organization kind of formed off the back of that, by accident,
Mm-hmm.
basically, right?
Wow.
So so that was,
And
so that for me, that was the
and
first
that
point. Oh
prompted
wow, that
and
prompted.
that prompted you to basically start a full-fledged, like, basically made you, that prompted you to actually decide, like, okay, attorney or being attorney or practicing law is not my thing. And that actually prompted you to actually work on the no. uh,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think this is what really fascinated me about it, was that like I was now pushing myself in a direction that by myself. So I was like eager to like discover more and learn. So I'd started like reading like avidly. I stopped listening to music. I was listening to podcasts to learn more, and talks and lectures. And I was going to events, trying to speak to like the speakers, trying to get them on board. I was doing things way out of my comfort zone voluntarily, and my point is that it woke something in me. It woke some, and I think this is the thing. When you're on your Fitrah, you come alive. This is
right,
the
right,
telltale sign.
right.
You become alive, and you push yourself, and you kind of go out your comfort zone, because
Hmm.
this is you now on the road to fulfilling your potential, right?
Right,
Before
right,
and it's a far cry from me being, I'm stagnant, wait, watching the clock, when's my shift going to be done at work, so
right,
very different from that, right?
right.
And so what I think what it did, so at that point I still hadn't decided, I'm going to quit my job or anything, but what it did, I'd seen an alternative. So when you see an alternative, you realize that, oh my god, like then work becomes harder because you realize
Mhm.
that before I was actually very career driven. I was very I want I want the promotions and I want company car and I want this and I want that. And but now I've got my teeth stuck into the no and growing this organization. We had like like lots of volunteers to manage, and so it was all this. It was like almost like startup type of experience, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, I got more and more dissatisfied with my role and just with politics and all that stuff. And so and I think so what I started realizing is that I was about to turn 30, and that's where again it's a milestone in your life. And I started realizing that okay, I'm about to turn 30, and I'm known for being a lawyer. I'm known for being a buyer, but law again is thing my parents kind of pushed me into. The buyer was the guy at Boots who kind of took me into that role. So it's not really. Is this who am I really? Right. So
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
when you're because again the organization started to call no. What is the most important thing to know? The most important thing is to know yourself and know
Right.
your Lord, right?
Right. Right.
And I'm
Right.
like, I don't even know myself, right? So this is where this whole fascination with purpose and Fitrah and stuff kind of got into sparks. Because I was like, look, I don't know what I want. I don't know myself. I don't know my fit. I don't know anything. But what I know is I do not like my job, and it does not spark anything in me. So I need
I'm
to
not a
I
lawyer.
need to
I'm not a
discover it.
lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
I'm not any of these things, right? And
Mhm.
and this is where you. Okay, this is the other thing. We don't listen to our gut. We don't listen to our because have been programmed a certain way. We've been programmed to okay, look, you're not supposed to enjoy it. You're not supposed to, but that's not really the way it's supposed to be, right?
Supposed to
So
be
yeah,
true.
we just think, oh no, yeah, because we're dazzled by the the trappings of oh yeah, if you work hard, you get promotion, you can afford this, and you can buy this, and so we're trap, but there should be
Mhm.
more
Mhm.
satisfaction about what you do and stuff. Yeah, so that kind of takes me into the journey of okay, right. Then that's when how I basically quit my job, without telling family and stuff. And I just thought, what, I don't know what I want, but I'm going to figure it out. And that started this whole journey into entrepreneurship and doing loads of different things. So
Mhm.
I've done like selling on Amazon. I've created a tech product from scratch and then launched it. I've did a marketing agency, did education products, and then even No has seen lots of evolution in that time. So,
Mhm.
but what's interesting is that throughout all the different startups and everything that I've done, No's been one constant. So that's been always been the baby in the back, like kind of just
Mhm.
because I feel that is me, the manifestation of my fitrah, basically, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
as that's evolved, that's kind of all mirrored my evolution as well. Because what first No was very events based. We were doing events every year. Then we were doing and then we started doing media and content and podcasts and stuff like that. Again, this is like going back 10 years ago, right? And then we
Mhm.
moved into okay, a platform. We're going to create an education platform, and again that coincided with my interest in technology and so my entrepreneurship journey. No was mirroring that. So as I was what I was learning here, I was putting into No, and that's the
Mhm.
thing. Like if No didn't exist, my development would be probably half of who I've
Right.
become, because
Right.
that thing's there,
Right.
that baby's there.
Right.
You're working on it, working on it. And so, but anyway, so as throughout all that journey, I realized I think I was looking for the most. I mean, like, a long story short, because I know that I could talk forever, right? But the a long story short, what No is today is basically it's named after the ayat in the Quran. Are those who know equal to those who don't know? Right?
Mhm.
This is chapter 39, verse 9, right? Because Allah makes a very clear distinction that these two aren't the same. You're either someone who knows or you're someone who doesn't know.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so, what is someone who knows, and how do you become someone who knows, right? But can you be someone who knows if you don't know yourself? Can you be someone who
Right.
knows if you don't know your purpose, and if you don't know why Allah made you and put you here? So that's the fascination and that's the obsession that I discovered, that because I didn't know this stuff about myself, and that's what these last 10 years have been all about, really, just discovering myself and what am I good at, what am I passionate about, what this and what that, and then and I realized that through my own journey, I've now discovered that other people are struggling with this issue, and so that's why I've kind of created this thing where that's why this No exists and this Know Your Purpose program exists, is to help others to go on that path of figuring out themselves, because then they can fully fulfill their potential, they can fully serve their Lord in the way they're meant to, you know.
Mhm. I think it's very the way how I found out about, because even though I know you for years, couple of years, because
Yeah.
I was trying to because I had met with the Simons and X team to find out my why, because I knew like what I wanted to do, and but I wasn't like very sure of what
Yeah.
it is. And I think that's how I got in touch with you, and I got into the No program. I think the No program helped me not just personally myself, to affirm what I was actually looking for, to affirm, okay, this is the path for me, but it also helped me shape Muslim Nation Builders.
Yeah.
Because I have to say that, because see, as adults, we try to like find ourselves, or whether we find ourselves or discover ourselves, we're still like, we have a path ahead of us, and we are traveling in that path. But it's very important, for our Muslim children especially, to find their path when they are young. I think it's
Mm.
very important. I think that is one of the component that I added in Muslim Nation Builders. And for those who don't know Muslim Nation Builders is an online maktab system where we teach live classes for children, and primarily engaging education for children. But that is not about just about imparting the knowledge. It's also about helping the parents find the fitrah of the child, because I think it's very important, that journey, the finding the fitrah of the child, it's key in a child's life. Because I will give you an example, because I think the way how we see children is different than a teacher observes the child. A
Mm.
teacher notes down like what the child is good. Because I remember, like in one of the parent teachers meeting, a teacher told me, like, Fauzia, your daughter has this amazing voice, and if she starts and narrates a story or something, the entire that's a time for me, because I will just sit, and she has this narration in a way that entire class listens to her with awe.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then that's how I started actually recording stories and sira, everything. For that's the beginning point, because I
Mm.
wouldn't have noticed if the teacher hasn't told me.
Yes.
And one of the things that we are implementing in Muslim Nation Builders is the teachers are trained to help the parents where they can identify the fitrah of the child. Because in parents don't even know. Because as parents, I think we are all wired um, to we're all wired in a certain way, because we're so much affected by what's going on around us. Like, okay, you have to finish your middle school, you have to finish your high school, and you have to take your exams, and you have to get in a good university, and then you have to find a job. I mean, there's nothing wrong about it, in the process. But I think what the problem happens when you fail as a parent, you fail to identify the fitrah of the child.
Mm.
You are forcing the child into, first of all, you're not even paying attention to what your child is really good at. Like, when do their eyes light up, like, when they talk about something, or when they do something. I think when you don't pay attention to that, and then when you have a path decided for your own child, like you decide, like, okay, I wanted my child to be doctor, or I want my child to be XYZ, and you decide the path for your child without even knowing what the child is really good at, what the child is really passionate about. And you're basically killing the fitrah of the child, and then
Mm.
forcing the child to go into an education which the child is not in. It's not interested. And then we've all heard about this, like, if you talk to parents or kids who are in the college, they say like, oh, I don't know, I think I'm going to change my major. It's fine to explore, but they're not clear, they're still not clear. And they just don't like the major that they picked up. And that is, why this is happening. This is happening because both the parent and the child, like, I think mostly it's for the parent, because the
Mm.
parent needs to support the growth of the child. Like, the parent needs to identify, like,
Absolutely.
okay, I think my child is like amazing he or she does amazing in arts, or he or she does amazing in XYZ. And parents need to give that opportunity for the children, to so they can explore in that area further themselves. And then, like, they know that, like, okay, I think this is what I'm going to be, this is what I'm so interested, and this is what I'm going to be. I think that is what is missing today in Muslim Ummah. And I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think it's nail on head. I think there's two things that come to mind. I think the first is that what we do for a child when they're younger, we ask them, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up?" They've got no idea at that point, right? They don't really know what they want to be. So we kind of we're almost gearing them up towards a life of working, and oh yeah, because their job is going to identify who they are and what they become. And that's not really that's the wrong approach, right? To focus so much on the work itself, right? Because what's more important is that they become a good character. That's the first important thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the second thing is to understand that, look, first of all, your ultimate objective is actually Jannah, right? And the way you're going to get to Jannah is through good works and being good and all that kind of stuff, right? That's the first thing, right? And you have to strive and want to be there, right? That's the first thing. But the second aspect of it is that you have, understanding that, oh, like Allah has actually created a role for me. Oh, a little on me, like it gives them, oh my God, like I'm important. And so, okay, oh, how do I know? How do I figure this out? So I've been given a direct role from Allah, and how do I figure that out? Well, actually, yeah, so this is where the parent or the teacher should work with the child and uncover these kind of clues. And because again, the child is not going to be that self-aware at that young age, but your observation of them, and that's why like Montessori schools and things like that, they are set up in that way, aren't they? Because when there's they set up like bricks and art and all these things, and wherever the child kind of naturally veers towards, again, it's sort of a basic version of Fitrah, isn't it? So that's the first thing. I think the second thing, by the way, my battery's going to die. 1 second, let me just start my charger.
Sure.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's So what was I?
You're saying the Montessori. The
Oh yeah,
Montessori.
so this is the thing. So look, there's so many children whose, like I said, spirit has been killed by the choices that parents have imposed upon them. And like again, because what it is, this is the thing. Like in the West, there's a we think, oh yeah, you can be whatever you want to be, and that's true from a encouragement perspective. Oh, of course, because you don't want to discourage, but you can't. The truth is, you can't be whatever you want to be, because your fitrah is designed a certain way. And so if let's say my fitrah is as a writer, but I've as a young from a young age, my parents put into me, oh, you're going to be a singer, you're going to be like a pop star one day and stuff. Like, so no matter what, I can learn, I can take lessons, I can do this, and I'll get to 60%, I'll get to 70%. I'll never be world class. I'll never be the guy who fully fulfills my potential as a singer and this and that. I might be semi-successful, but it's not what I was designed for. You understand? And I think this is the thing, that we are looking at the ummah and we're looking, we're in the doldrums. We're nowhere near, forget golden age. We're we're struggling massively as ummah. But it all starts young. And this is the thing, like, look, me and you are actually doing very, very similar work, in the sense that when people come in to know and purpose program and stuff, a lot of what it is that I have to look at, okay, this is what's the obstacles from them becoming their best self. What's the transformation that they need to go through? And it starts with unlearning, right? What are the false beliefs that are serving them the wrong way? What are the challenges and the limiting beliefs and all these, like the fears and the traumas and all of these things that have been placed upon them, and a lot of them have been placed upon them because they're just completely misaligned to the fitrah, right? When you look at a child is actually a superhero, if you think about it, because a child they're confident, they fall down, they get up again, they persevere, they're very authentic, very genuine, they're loving, they're expressive, all of these things. Like if I said all these things to you, oh, would you like to be like that? You'd say, I'd love to be like that. But a child actually is all those things, right? And this is the thing about you. What you do is that you don't need to do that unlearning. Your thing is that, okay, I'm taking the child as their pure self, and I am just able to. My job is to observe and then steer, observe and steer, and this is actually how it always was.
Yes.
And this is the thing in the golden era. So the teacher's role was so important. That's why teachers are very, very highly paid, because they were polymaths. They could speak to any subject, and so their job was, okay, look, every it's like every child's a plant or a tree, but the different trees have different uses. Some trees give fruit. Some trees give shade. Some trees heal, right? So it's about understanding. Okay, which child, what my child is like. How can he serve? How can he? What's his service going to be, or
Right,
her service
right,
going to be? Yeah,
right,
exactly. Yeah.
right. I
But
think
if we can, and if we can, sorry, one last thing is that if we can find people, if we can get people back onto the Fitrah, because for me it's about getting them realigned with the Fitrah. Okay, right, this is now who you're meant to be. Less, but for you, if you can get them young, you've got those peak years where their energy's at their optimum. They've got the most time, and so the amount of great work that can be done
mhm.
is, when imagine they've got their best self, and they're the most hungry, and it's like you've let them off the leash. You
Right.
know how they say here in the West they clip their wings. Basically, you're
Mhm.
putting wings on them and letting them fly,
Right,
and
right,
that's the
right,
difference. Huge
right.
difference.
I think one other point here is, I think parents, see, as Muslims, we have the concept of risk, that Allah blesses all, each one of the child that's born in this world has his own or her own risk. I think over the time, as an ummah, we, even though we know the concept, we are forgetting the concept. We are forgetting the concept, and we have this worry of like, okay, how my child is going to how much money is going to are they going to make, or like, can they survive financially, can they do this, can they do that. I think that is one of the fear, that's the natural fear for people who don't have this belief. That's
Hmm.
the 100%, and they are right in that. Like, if you have your non-Muslim neighbor, for them to have this fear, it's fine, because that's normal. But as Muslims, I think we shouldn't have that fear, because we have to believe that our risk is already written, our children's risk is already written. So when you have that, and when it will totally change, you wouldn't go behind like, okay, I need to have that. Rather, you'll focus on your child, your own child, what the child is really good at, what can this child do, and what can I as a parent help my child, so this child can become a nation builder tomorrow, this child can become an ummah star tomorrow. Because
Hmm.
when you focus on your child, and when you focus on your child's strength, and give him or her the opportunities to grow themselves, inshallah, you will know the path. I mean, by the time they are 15 or 16, you will know the path, and they will know the path, because you've been trained, you've been like constantly you're working on that, and you know exactly the path. And then the child knows exactly, okay, this is what I'm going to be, and this is what my path is. I
Hmm.
think it's very important for parents, this kind of support. I mean, I don't think anywhere else they have this kind of a support, like where they're helping the children. I mean, alhamdulillah, that's why I'm very glad that when I launched Muslim Nation Builders, it's just not a maktab to teach obviously the most important things about the Quran, Sunnah, Sira. This is also another phase, because we do have, it's not that we're not lacking the knowledge. We are, alhamdulillah, we have the knowledge, and our children, like most of them, like knows the knowledge. But what is lacking is their connection to the deen, their connection, their engagement. And that's why I put together with Muslim Nation Builders, like the engaging in Islamic education plus identifying the fitrah of the child.
Yeah, I think, look, just on that, when I was younger, all those years back in South Africa and all that stuff, I was actually those typical guys who I knew other religion, as in I knew the prayer and all that kind of stuff, and I did all the the basics, the prayers, the fasting and stuff. But in terms of, you ask me, are you one of those ones that really understands it and really like is connected to it and all that stuff? No, I wasn't. That's the and that what South Africa was for me was an awakening and reconnection of the Deen and how important it is and the why behind it. You talk about why. That was what it was about. And I think getting that stuff early, because the why is your fuel. That's the stuff
Right,
that's going to fuel you your entire life. If you
right,
understand why you're doing something, I'm doing something because this is going to get me to Jannah. This is my service. Like a child will go through the whole life thinking they're formidable, thinking they're like they're undefeatable, and fearless and stuff. That's the whole point. Right?
Right.
Whereas now there's too much fear in children, and oh no, but I'm not sure about this, because the school system has designed that. No, don't question authority. Oh no, if you work to the bell and all that kind of stuff, they disconnect. There's, oh, we can talk all day about problems with the school system, but
Right.
I mean, let me give you. Can I just can I give you a quick story of
Yeah.
someone who messaged
Yeah.
me recently? Right?
Sure.
So the young sister who messaged me, she was just saying that, oh, I heard that you did law and stuff, and my father is wanting me to do law, right? So can you just tell me a bit about it and stuff? And so I was like, okay, no, so I got talking to her, and I was like, oh, look, um, her passion was actually education. So she really, really, really was passionate about education. She went to a Montessori school when she was younger, and then when she was studying, she had all these um, like blogs and Instagram pages about studying and notes and stuff like that. So that's where she wanted to go. But the degree that she did was in like accountancy or something. And then she was thinking, okay, right. And then she thought she was done. Okay, I did the accountancy thing. I thought, okay, now I can do education. But then her father said, okay, can you go into law now? So she was actually thinking, oh, well, he's asked me to do it. So I just want to get some advice about law. And then my advice was actually very, very different. So I said that, look, I gave her the advice about law. Okay, look, here's good. This is what you can learn, and this and that, and the blah, blah, blah. But I was saying that what would happen to you is that, because this is way, way, way against your Fitrah, and she admitted that this is not really what she wanted to do, but it's a compromise. What I said to her was that, look, what would happen is that right now you're young, you've got energy and stuff like that. This, because you're going against the grain. You know how you go against the current?
Right.
It's going to drain you. It's going to drain your energy and stuff like that. So it's going to feel difficult. But you're going to get through it. You can power yourself through it. But this is helping people feel fatigued, and they get to 30s, and they lose that energy and that enthusiasm that they once had for
Right.
service. And right now,
Right.
I guarantee you, if she went off and did education, she would be world class in that field, because it's just, she's been talking about it for like 10 years, right? And
Right.
just
Right.
naturally, right?
Right.
But so what I was saying to her is that, look, what your father really wants is for you to be happy, but he wants you to want to be successful. That's what he really wants, right?
Mm.
And so if you did law, basically, so the whole thing is about communication. If you can go communicate and do this and do that, then I don't know what you went off and did, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look, ultimately, your father would be much happier if you were the best version of yourself doing education, and
Mm-hmm.
highly you achieved a lot of this and that, than a mediocre lawyer. That's the thing. And so this is the thing.
Yeah.
Of course it would, because that's what would make your father proud is, my daughter's a lawyer today.
Right.
That might make him some pride. But imagine it's award-winning educationalist and started this school, and that would make him way more prouder. And actually impact more people and all that kind of stuff. So I think that it's about the ambition and desire, what's possible. And sometimes we don't want to have those difficult conversations. So that's the thing I would say about that.
So
So
what did she end up
I'm
becoming?
not sure. But that's what I kind of like everything excited. So she was actually grateful for the advice and stuff, and I think I got her thinking. But that was the point. That was the whole point I have that conversation.
Because I think that's a very important point, because this is what happened when parents impose their dream, and they will change the direction of the children wouldn't realize initially, but later, like you mentioned, it'll actually drain them, because why did
Yeah.
I come? And by the time they are like mid 20s or late 20s, they will be like, they wouldn't have a choice, and they'll just continue. And I think continue in the path. But many of us as parents, we can go back to even think about our own fitra. Is it something that we are doing, that we are passionate about?
Mhm.
But it's very important, at least if the parents have that realization, and direct their children in a way that the children can shine in whatever they do. Because
Mhm.
when it clicks with the children, like when it clicks, like the two things, like one, giving the Islamic education, so they are grounded in the deen. No matter what, they're grounded in the deen. Like no matter what heights they go in whatever they achieve, if they are grounded in the deen, alhamdulillah, it's well and good. That's number one.
Mhm.
Number two, for them to go into that heights, like for them to like be the best version of themselves, they have to know the fitrah of the child and help the child in becoming the best of themselves, so they can serve the ummah. They can serve the ummah in whatever they are best at. I think
Mm.
then you, as a parent, you are like, inshallah, like, that should be the mission of any Muslim parent. Like, you're giving the education of the deen, and not just the education of the deen, like you are giving, like, we wanted basically, one of the tagline of Muslim Nation Builders is like helping children to practice the deen with passion and conviction. Like, there's
Yeah,
absolutely
amazing.
no ifs and buts. There's no
Yeah.
like loopholes or anything. Like, you just practice the
But
deen
you,
with
but you know
passion and
how you
conviction.
do that. You know how you do that. How you do that is by prioritizing that. Because what happens is that what we actually prioritize is status and money.
Mm.
That's what we actually prioritize, and
Yeah,
that's
most
why
of the
we
world,
end.
most of
Yeah,
the world.
yeah. Yeah. So, for example, like, why is it? It's always doctor, lawyer, engineer. It's never dustbin man, or you know what I mean. It's always because the status and money, right? And the point is that we have to understand that a lot of our decisions are based on our worldview, on our lens, or our parents' lens, or whatever. That they might be thinking that, oh, okay, I've got to compete with this family and that family and stuff. No, you don't, because your child is unique. Your child is your own child, right? That's the first
Right.
thing. So no, yeah, stop. And so if like your child is not here to earn new money or anything like that. These are all byproducts. If you're actually putting the child's well-being first, like just like it's like the whole choosing a spouse conversation. Again, the
Mhm.
wrong spouse that's not suited to them, bro, it can destroy their life. In the
Right.
same way, the wrong road, as in the wrong job or work, can destroy their
Right.
life.
Destroy the
And
life.
we don't ever make that comparison. Or we don't ever
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
So it's about decisions, the right decisions, and the decisions with the right intention.
Right. Right. I think that's very important, because in Muslim Nation Builders, right, we start actually with the Jannah mindset, because it's not about and one of the unique thing about Muslim Nation Builders is we are involving the parents from day -1. Like,
Mm.
parents are on board from the beginning, and even before the child begins. And inshallah, we're actually starting next week. September 30th will be our first parenting session. So the reason why we are bringing parents on board, because if the leadership of the family has the Jannah mindset, has that vision for their family, everything else will be aligned, because
Mm.
they exactly know what they wanted for their family, and then they will align. Everything what they do will be aligned when they raise their children, because they know that they are here on a journey. They know that, our, we our original, like, going back home, which is Jannah. That's where we are,
Mm.
and that's where the children are going to be. So they don't have to worry about, okay, how much money my son or daughter is going to make, or how is he or she's going to sustain or survive in this world, because they know 100% Allah has written risk for them.
Yeah, yeah,
They
absolutely.
know it for sure. So then the focus will not be like your neighbors, your friends who are not Muslims, who don't have that mindset. So when you have that Jannah mindset, your focus completely changes. The way you do things, the way how you assist your children will be totally different. And your children are also simultaneously learning, like, okay, what does having Jannah mindset mean? I mean, because once you re-establish, once you connect the children, everything else will fall in place. Because many parents today, they have this complaint that, no matter what, how much I tell my children, no matter how much I have to remind them always to pray or to do stuff, and all these things, it's all because you haven't established the foundation strong. If the children latches to the deen, if the children like latches, okay, okay, I get it, then you don't have to worry about it. It's like you're driving the car in autopilot. You driving
Mm.
car in autopilot, it's just like you just need to make sure it's still there. You're still there, you're still in charge of the car, you're still driving, but you don't have to like drive like with full effort, because you already set the direction. So similar, you already set the direction for your kids, because they all,
Yeah.
like, as a family, you all like have this Jannah mindset. You're all aligned with that vision. When you have that, everything else will fall in place. Like, it's a salah time, or it's like, your child will come and remind you, mom, when you, like, for example, fall asleep, like, mom, you didn't pray Isha, go pray Isha. I
Mm.
think that is the coolness of the eyes, because your child reminding
Mm.
you, to
Yeah.
be on the path. That's the coolness of the eyes, and that is what we are aiming to achieve in Muslim Nation Builders,
Yeah.
because
See,
everything will be aligned and everything will have once you have the Jannah mindset.
yeah. I mean, what can you a good example that came to mind as you were speaking was that imagine now is that every child has got screens, right? So they've got iPads or TVs or whatever, and so that's affecting the attention span, right? So that's why they say that imagine your child, you didn't give it any screens until the age of 10, right? How much better will their attention span be than their peers? So like their attention span will be almost like surreal. It'll be abnormal because this is so much stronger than everyone else who's just addicted or whatever. In the same way, imagine your child has been general mindset from day one. How much benefit or how advantageous would that be over their peers at the age of 10, at the age of 15, at the age of 20? Because now everything, like I said, is guided towards the ultimate direction. And as you said, they're not. So first of all, everything that they're doing, they're getting reward for, etc., etc., and you're getting reward for because you guided them right in the first place.
Right,
That's the first thing.
right.
It's compounding, compounding, compounding. First thing.
Hmm.
But then, secondly, if you look at the scholars of Golden Age, etc., they were so connected to Allah that they were like, look, because of their love of Allah, they were like, we need to like study the world. We need to discover this star because Allah made this star. And I pointed out, what could it lead you to? This is the point, the opportunity that because because you become relentless in your desire to please and to serve and all these things if it's ingrained within you from day one instead
True,
of what the world is calling you towards, which is, oh yeah, come on, TikTok and this and this and all these distractions, so
true, true.
it's very, very powerful because the child's mind is like a sponge, and it can be shaped and molded any direction. So if you
Hmm.
want, so that's the time to really, really influence it, for the
Yes,
best
yes.
results.
And one of the thing that that's a good point, because when the child is constantly reminded, right, they won't, the possibility for them to go off track gets like reduced. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a software engineer and we have these scrum calls, and every time they ask these questions, okay, what did you work today and what did you work yesterday and what were your blockers? And similarly, I think it's very important for the children to have this: why are we here, what's our purpose, where are we going, and what to expect. When you, I mean, if you have this conversation with your child every single day, whether when you tuck them in the bed or whether in the dining table or when you drive in the car, like it gets, the children get wired to it, like especially what to expect, right? Because what to expect is, they are wired like, okay, these are the distractions, shaitan will come, shaitan will do this, shaitan will do that. They will be wired to, like, even in the middle of the night when you wake them up and like ask these questions, why are we here, and they'll say like, yeah mom, I know, we are here on a journey, we are on a journey towards our eternal home Jannah. What to expect, shaitan will come in all these forms.
Yeah, yeah,
So different stage of life, that the answers for that question will change, what to expect. Because what to expect that day, or what to expect that year, or what to expect that month, because you are already prepared. See, someone who's prepared well, who knows what to expect in the journey, is they can do much well than someone who's just like walking randomly and then be surprised by it, or be carried away by all the distractions. I think
yeah.
it's a powerhouse. It will be a powerhouse for children if they have that Jannah mindset, if the family has the Jannah mindset and guide their children
Mm,
and wire them with all these things, so they exactly know where they are going, they exactly know what to expect. I think that will be a game changer, and I'm
yeah,
glad I'm able to do that in Muslim Nation Builders, and I'm so
yeah.
excited that we're going to start.
Yeah, I've got one last thing actually, which is that what happened is that the fitrah, it seeks or desires to go back to Allah, right? That's why it is, because it's been designed to serve, and so no matter what no matter what you do in life, you're always going to if you're not doing what you're supposed to, or if it's not where it needs to be, if you're going to feel misaligned, you're going to feel like, oh, your gut instinct's going to tell you that there's something wrong, and sooner or later, you're going to start searching, you're going to start seeking, and it might happen. You might become aligned when you're 30. It might be 40. It might be 50. But the point is that this is what the fitras and the soul is always, it was always going to be like trying to seek and search for. Like I said, for me, it happened in my 30s. right? And so, but imagine I had it from a young age.
I
What
know.
more could I have done? And
Yeah,
that is the thing. So my point is that it gives the child the best chance at life, because you've got an extra 20 years or 30 years or 40 years to give it what it actually desires, what it needs, what it's supposed to have. To give. Yeah.
right.
So this is the
I think
um
as a parent, I think if you guide your child in that direction, if you teach them the deen in a way where, or you give them an opportunity in a way that they absorb the deen, that will stay with them for rest of their life, and then you also show them the way, like, which they're really good at, which they're really passionate about, that would be game changer. And that is like achieving like the golden mission of, like, being a good parent, inshallah. So
mm,
I think we are almost like 50 minutes, so thank you so much, Faisal. This was an
no
amazing
problem.
session. And for those who want to know about Muslim Nation Builders, you can visit www.muslimnationbuilders.com. And if anyone have any questions, just type in the chat so we can address that while we are going to be here for a few more minutes. And I want to actually say, we are going to start actually, we're going to close the registration pretty soon, and we are starting September 30th, Sunday. And then following week, October 7th, will be our first day for our maktab. And alhamdulillah, we have children who have signed up, and we are so excited to start this journey with the parents. So if anyone have any questions, just type in the chat so we can address while we are live. Let me see if there are any questions. Okay, I don't see any questions, so inshallah. So Faisal, where can people find your program? Just let them know. So
Yeah.
if
So if they want to just check out www.secondgoldenage.com
okay,
/purpose,
purpose.
that will,
Okay,
will take them towards like some free training that they can watch and understand a little bit more. And then if they want to book a call, then that will help them to book a call with us, and we can help them figure some of these things out for them, like on a one-to-one call, inshallah.
got it. Got it. Okay, that's basically second golden age. It's easy. It's not, it's easy to remember. Secondgoldenage.com/purpose. And for parents who want to look for their children, to enroll their children, it's muslimnationbuilders.com. It's one word, muslimnationbuilders.com. And you can take a look at it. And if you have any questions, you can either DM me here, or you can even send an email, inshallah. So let's finish this. Thank you so much, Faisal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Okay.
wa barakatuh.
Well, so